I feel a little strange just diving into it. I think that just to get over the awkwardness of saying it on camera to fans who may not hear us, we should all say that at the same time. Like 1, 2, 3, pussy! Yes!
Alright, so this is the deal. This is what we call DEM Discussions.
DEM Discussions.
And the discussion, Listen, y'all, so we're talking about a video that was on YouTube and maybe some other social networking sites of Brian McKnight, who is a vocal influence for you, you know.
Yeah, he was a big inspiration for me growing
up.
Awesome.
He said was.
His voice was still on point.
Was?
Yeah, his voice was on point.
His voice was on point.
It really was. I was like, wow, this sounds great.
Did he give a title to the song?
He said, if you're ready to...
ready
to learn.
If you're ready to learn.
But I heard that in the original video they had in parentheses, let me show you how that pussy works.
Let me show you how that pussy works.
It just feels, I don't know, it just feels
you know what it is? Crass.
And it's not like I've never said the word before, because I'm not going to be fake if somebody's watching, like one of my friends like, all the time.
Right.
It just feels weird to just be so plain and blatant about it.
Right.
I just feel like there's something that's inherently unsexy about being that blatant.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Especially,
the squirt part.
Bet you didn't know. I can't even sing it. Daddy could squirt. I just feel like at that when I heard that line, I was like, it's got to be a joke.
Yeah,
there's no way you could be serious. It's got to be a joke.
And then of course he comes and says, "Oh, that's satire. That's not. I didn't mean that. That was just a big joke."
But I kind of feel like
yeah.
It's one of those things where like I'm joking.
Because everybody hates it.
Exactly. But if we would have liked it, he'd been like, oh, where's more where that came from? One thing, when I looked at Brian McKnight's Twitter page, because hello, Brian McKnight fan, I saw the discourse he was having with some of his fans, and I had to give it to him. He made some really good points. Like, people were like, you made songs like One Last Cry and Back at One. And he was like, well, guess what? When I make quality music like that, you guys don't buy it anymore. Radio doesn't play it these days.
Right.
Some of the songs you guys name it are as old as, like, this 13 years ago.
Right. And apparently Brian McKnight does not have a Grammy. He's never won a Grammy.
Don't believe
I don't
Which
think
I'm shocked about.
I don't think so.
Because he definitely is deserving.
He's been nominated, I believe.
Yeah,
But I don't think he's ever actually, which is ridiculous.
Right.
And he might be having, you know, and I'm not saying this in a necessarily negative way, but it can bruise your ego when you're hailed as one of the best male vocalists like ever, and you don't have a Grammy. You never fully get your full shine, at least in the States, because I know in parts like in the Philippines and stuff like that, they give him his credit.
Right.
You know?
Absolutely.
Here we kind of everybody wants to sing with the Mariah Carey, you know, all these people. He sung with Regina Velasquez. Everybody is like acknowledging you're amazing, but he still hasn't gotten that like official recognition. And I think like part of it was kind of like a dig / social commentary on the state of music today. Like, he's like, this is my point to some of the people who are hating on him. I'm like, he's put out all this great music all this time, and he's fallen off recently. Nobody's talking about him, even though he's put out a few more great songs in the fairly recent past.
He did.
But it's nobody really cared. He puts out this song about, let me show you how the pussy works.
Trending.
Right. And everybody on Twitter talking about it.
Exactly.
So I feel like he proved a hell of a point. It's like, now you're talking though. Right. Now this got your attention. When he's singing about, you know, love and butterflies, you know, nobody cares.
Right.
You know,
because we want to talk about popping pussies.
Right.
Well, actually, he's about more like squirt. Anyway, yeah.
I know that's very crass, y'all, but we're trying to make a point. But anyhow.
Yeah. Would you compromise what you want to do for the sake of, if you knew that doing a certain kind of music was guaranteed to get you more success, quote unquote, as far as mainstream notoriety and money?
Right.
If we make success equal that, would you be willing to do a song about pussy and ass and be like, hey, I do what I gotta do?
No. For me, no.
Even if you could sing the hell of it like Brian McKnight.
Right. No,
he was still singing it though.
He
was
singing it. He sang his ass off, but that's also there's a character involved in that.
Yeah.
When people don't know your personal life, like we don't know Brian McKnight's extreme personal life, they don't know who he is.
Right.
And they're going to judge who he is based off the music that he sings.
Right.
And for him to put that out, I mean...
I do have to say that, I just remember he said, they don't know what a tongue is for. It's hard for me to...
Yeah. See, the thing, I couldn't do that because There's a certain demographic that I want to go for. I want my music to be relatable to everyone. I'm not saying that sexual things are not relatable, but I think there's a way to package things, you know, and that's too crass for me. That's too crass.
Same here.
I believe in talking about love and even talking about intimacy in a certain way.
I couldn't even imagine
but
listening to me.
To be that crass for me is a bit much. And I'm not even trying to be, okay, now I do want money. Let me put that I do want to be sustained and all of that, but I'm not willing to compromise a certain, you know, standard that I have in order, at least not that standard. There might be some things I might push back a little, or I might allow, but not that. That's
my personal rule is if I would be too ashamed or too embarrassed to let my parents listen to
That's
it,
right.
it's going too far.
I
So I agree
my
with you on
mom.
Or
that.
my niece and nephew or something, you know. Well, definitely be careful if you're already established. Because one thing I have seen, like you already mentioned, that people were going after Brian for is that you were already established as a certain standard. You know, you did love songs, and all of a sudden you just flip the script. So, like I said, we're not making a judgment, not condemning anyone, but maybe some advice is, if you haven't blown up yet, or you haven't been discovered, or you haven't really put yourself out there yet, decide what you want to be, what you want to be known for. Because once you put a certain image into the mind of the public, people are going to see you that way.
Yep,
and then if you make too much of a difference, a change, that might not be as good of a change, then it may not be received.
Although the melody was catchy.
The melody was
I can't stop singing it.
His voice was on point.
Right.
It was just the content.
But that's our question for you guys as well.
Would you be willing to sing, promote, and or endorse explicit material in order to attain fame and fortune, even if the material compromised your standards?